I really enjoyed the first half of this episode, the flashback form that was kind of told in this storybook, Sin City, black and white-esque style. Very, very cool stuff, man. Hunter x Hunter, episode 80. Evil and Terrible. Yunju Colt Peggy Zazan. Well, hello, my brothers and sisters and Chimera and squadron leaders of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, and I'm here to bring you another review on the awesome and disturbing and dysfunctional and ever-evolving tale of Hunter x Hunter. Now, our last episode really focused, as the last few have, on the Chimera ants and just their multiplying their forces, and of course them bringing, bringing a lot of humans, a lot of food and sustenance to the Chimera ant queen because she is getting ready to give birth to the Chimera ant king. And as they're taking over this kind of country area of NGL, the last episode, it ended off with a number of them. Actually, it was Yunju and his group, it looked like, attacking the underground hideout of those underground militia guys that kind of make, I call them militia, but that's because that's what they're dressed like, but they're kind of like mafia, and they produce that drug D2. So anyway, things wound up ending off with them kind of right at like the doorstep to what appeared to be like the leader of this faction, this underground. That's how things left off, and that's actually right where things pick up, and I really got to say, I enjoyed the first half of this especially. It was told in flashback form to tell you about the leader of this group, right? This underground kind of mob, right? This mafia underworld boss, and his name is Gyro. And it was told in the kind of like a black and white, almost drawn fashion. Almost reminded me of like a Sin City type of thing. And it was done very, very well. It shows Gyro and how he came up, right? He came up, he was just this poor kid, and he seemed to have no mother. Her mother was gone, dead, whatever. He has a father, right? The father's an alcoholic, treats him like shit. They sleep in a rotten bunk bed, and when he turns and moves and makes sounds in the middle, he's only allowed to pee a certain amount of times a night. If he turns and moves too much, he catches a beating from his father. Basically, just the guy's a big piece of shit. But the kid, he's got such a small world. This goes to show you that that's a terrible thing about an abusive relationship or having an abusive, parent or something like that, because this kid, this is all he knows. All he knows growing up, man. So my heart just completely went out to him, even though it's this fictional, this anime. My heart goes out to him, though, and it was just so well done and so well written, because here coming up, this kid, the only thing, he idolized his father because that's all he knew. His father was like God to him in his own world. And the reason that he loved him, though, and thought that he loved him as well, was because of two things. Number one, when he was sick one time of this fever and almost died, his father stood by his bedside all night and put cool cloths on his head and everything else, right? Typical stuff. That's normally what a parent would do, or a loved one, right? And the other thing is, he winds up teaching him this. He never told him to leave was the other thing. He never ordered him to leave. But the type of lessons he taught him were, basically don't get in other people's ways, right? And as the lipstick starts to come off the pig and the kid gets older and is now maybe, I don't know, a teenager or something like that, I don't know if he's like in a school or work situation, there's somebody else from the outside world that knows that his father's a piece of shit, and he's straight up just telling him. He's always ridiculing, Gyro for it, but he's telling him, he goes, that wasn't even your father when you were sick, you idiot. That was the neighbor. The neighbor came over. Your father was in a drunken stupor as usual, and the neighbor came over and helped bring you back. Your father said, fuck it, good riddance to you if you die. He didn't care. And so anyway, Gyro eventually flips, right, and goes and tries to, attack this guy or what have you, and gets the shit beat out of him, beat within an inch of his life. And as he's there, laying there, beaten and bloodied and whatnot, he goes and he sees his father, the scum shit that he is, walk by. I don't know what it is with fathers in these type of situations, but man, there's not a lot of winners in this. Not a lot of winners. There's not a big winner circle for fathers. Father's Day must not be one that's like, it must be a sore spot with Togashi. I don't know, maybe his dad don't like him or something, because, man, I tell you. Between Jing just abandoning his kid and then this dude that they give you this big exposition on. Anyway, I don't want to make a long story even longer. The point is, though, is that the father walks by and doesn't even stop, doesn't look at him, doesn't nothing. The kid eventually goes home and just musters up the courage to basically say, F you, takes a hammer, kills him. He winds up going on 9 years later to be, he went off and actually formed the NGL, right? This country, this province, this whatever. He founded it, and he was the king of it, right? Then he went on to go and create the mafia underworld part of it, I guess, this D2, as I understand it. So he was king for a while and then decided to go and do this. Or maybe he's still technically the king and he's running this shit, you know, and it's kind of like do as I say, not as I do. There's all these rules imposed for his subjects and the people that are there, but his group, it's cool to go and, you know, like they have weapons and all this other shit because he's doing his drug dealing. But basically, he pretty much now adopted the philosophy of, like, you know, just fuck with humans, just do whatever you can, you know. So that's kind of what I took from it. Though it was almost the first half of it, though, and it was done very well. The flashback, I know I spent a little time talking about it, but the flashback I thought was done very well. It comes back to present time where you got Yunju there, right? And there's this bloody empty chair. So apparently, he's sitting there talking. He's talking with somebody else. He says, "This is going to be my base now," and blah blah blah, my fortress. And apparently, Gyro was either killed or wounded and brought back to the Chimera Ant Queen for food. So the rest of the actual episode winds up taking place, and mostly we wind up seeing Pakal and Panzu, that group. They have found the Chimera Ants and kind of where they're coming and going from, and they're watching them. And eventually, as they're trying to get word out, the Panzu sends out her bees one time, and, you know, with messages, like Mike Tyson, with messages. Sends the bees out with messages, and she says that all the hunters must be dead. You know, I mean, that have come in there so far have been taken out because nobody's responded back, and they're asking for help. You know, so they wind up getting fallen upon by another Chimera ant, and Panzu winds up going and taking his ass out easily. But then there's a squadron leader one that's this weird humanoid spider with like a human head one that crawls up the side of the mountain and comes to attack him. And there's a nice battle that ensues with them. It winds up taking out and biting the head off of one of Panzu's homies, one of his buddies. Panzu winds up coming in with this orange arrow. Dude catches it, fires another orange arrow. Dude catches that one. You know, all this shit happens. Anyway, Panzu finally, now that his hands are taken up and his other hands are holding this dead body or whatever that it just pulled in one of Panzu's buddies, Panzu gets up and starts using his Nen abilities. Bam, 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 bam. The squadron leader, though, what's cool about it is he can see the aura and the life energy around him, so he can see the Nen abilities and automatically thinks that it'd be a great thing to bring to the queen, right? Anyway, as he winds up, Panzu's about to put a killing blow on this damn thing. It winds up getting stung from behind, it looks like, by this hot Chimera ant chick, you know, the TNA ant chick, Zazan, I think her name is, but she's got like a scorpion tail and like a thong. Anyway, you know, because those two go hand in hand. And she puts him down and says, listen, we're going to bring this one to the queen for food. This one's going to be worth 1,000 humans, right? And anyway, and so Panzu's ass is down. Or, no, I'm sorry, that's Pakal. It's Pakal. I keep saying Panzu with P, whatever, I get them screwed up. Anyway, Panzu, the one with the bees, is running like hell and winds up going and getting shot by that other goofy, googly-eyed one, man. I forget what his name was, the one that can turn invisible. And he just goes on like a drunken, homicidal, like Joker rage and just starts shooting her, you know? So poor Panzu's done. She's dead. What winds up happening, though, at the end of the episode is we see Gon and we see Killua and we see Kite. And what they wind up doing is they actually go and tell the other two to go back and kind of warn everybody, you know, go back to the NGL embassy and see if you can get help, right? And they wind up, and this is after they wind up getting one of Panzu right before she died. She sent out, right before she got attacked and shot, she sent out more bees, like close range, just hoping anybody beyond hope could help her. And it's like smeared in blood, it looks like, you know, and it says, you know, Chimera Ant Nest, and there's like a little map drawn on there. So Kite, Killua, and Gon, that's how things end off, with them going towards getting into the forest and then coming upon Panzu's body and finding out that not only is there weapons here, because they find some, you know, cartridges, casings, I'm sorry, bullet casings, and they're like, okay, there's nothing allowed mechanical in here. They surmise that it must be from the underground or this and that, but then Kite says, I don't think it was a human that fired these things, you know? So it's kind of cool because it's just, oh man, you can just see both sides brewing up over here, man. The Chimera Ants are starting to just take out people and just kind of making everything feel lost and helpless and hopeless. And then you've got, you know, your characters, your Kite, your Killua, your Gon, and, you know, and they're coming into it. They're getting into the mix now, and you know some shit. And you know now, too, that the Chimera Ant Queen is going to be aware of the humans that possess Nen abilities. The ones that possess those Nen abilities are actually going to be better sustenance for her, because then she can birth offspring that has those. And even that one Colt, his name was, the one that was actually the first hybrid of that first kid and little girl that she killed, Reyna, and I forget the kid's name, the boy. And he's getting some of his memory from his actual life before, because he actually mumbles out his sister's name at one point during this. I thought that was worth mentioning, but also, too, it was worth mentioning that he goes and realizes that they actually, from reports they got and everything else, from talking with the other Skylander-looking one, Peggy, I think, they're kind of surmising that humans can think for themselves and evolve. And, and Colt's basically like, doesn't matter, we can evolve too. And this Peggy's like, yeah, but you don't understand. They're going to find the weakness, which is the queen. They're going to attack it. And Colt's like, no, you don't understand. We're going to protect the bitch with everything we got. So, man, is it really heating up? And I am just so stoked for this, man. I got my nice TV back over there. I don't know if you can see that. Let me go and we'll turn this a little bit, give you a little bit of... I got my nice TV back over there now that I got for gaming and such, and I can stream Crunchyroll and Funimation, the apps, right through my my Xbox or my PS4, which is really cool because now I'm actually watching it nice, super high def on a 39-inch LED TV. I have bigger TVs in the house, but when I sit down and I watch anime, especially when it's subtitled, I like to be able to I have to concentrate a lot and focus on the subtitles while I'm reading while I'm reading them as well as trying to watch, and it's hard for me to do that. And like just outside distractions when kids and stuff like that are around. So very, very cool stuff. My episode question for you though, brothers and sisters, is ultimately, what are your overall thoughts on the Chimera ants? Just the Chimera ants and their evolution and what they can do thus far that we've seen. Now these things are toting guns. They're thinking on their own. I think it's going to wind up being trouble for the queen personally as we go down the road over here. That may eventually be her downfall. That may be the chink in the armor. But these things, other than that, are just, superhuman, super beastly things. And now they're evolving and they're finding out that there's Nen ability users, So, let me know what your thoughts are, though, in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We look forward to catching all of you in the next one, Nation. Thank you for watching. Without you, none of this would be possible.